Imagine waking up to the sound of tiny peeps, knowing you're about to raise a flock of happy, healthy chickens. But here's the thing, raising chicks isn't just about setting up a cute little brooder box in the middle of a room. There are a few critical steps that can make or break your chick raising experience. Welcome back to Jordan's Backyard Chickens. I'm Jordan and I love helping make raising chickens easy and fun, whether you're just starting out or need a quick refresher. Today, we are diving into one of the most exciting and rewarding parts of taking care of chickens, raising baby chicks. But before you bring those little fluff balls home, let's talk about the biggest mistakes new chick owners can make and how you can avoid them. Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll be ready to raise confident, thriving chicks from day one. So you've decided to raise chicks. Exciting. But before you can bring home a box of fluffy cuteness, let's talk about where to even get them and what to look for. Stick around, because in a minute, I'll tell you about a common mistake new people to raising chickens make when choosing breeds. There are really 3 different convenient places you can buy your chicks. Number 1, local feed stores. These are like the convenience stores of chick shopping. Spring through fall, you will find a variety of breeds and you'll get the benefit of picking them out in person. Just be prepared. Once you see them all, it will be hard to say no. Chicken math, anyone? Number 2, hatcheries. If you have a specific breed in mind, or you are looking for a large amount of chicks, hatcheries are perfect because they ship chicks directly to your door, and a lot of times you can get them at a cheaper price than what you would at a local store. Be careful though, because as they are shipped to your door, sometimes this can cause unwanted and undue stress to the chicks. Number 3, buying from local breeders. Want to support local farmers or find unique breeds? Check out breeders who often raise chicks in smaller batches, which can mean healthier, more well cared for birds. Buying chicks from breeders gives you the ability to find better show quality birds, as show breeders will be breeding to the standard of perfection. Here's a pro tip. No matter where you get your chicks, look for ones that are active, alert, and have bright eyes and clean, fluffy feathers. If a chick looks weak, lethargic, or has a messy bottom, that could be a sign of health issues like pasty butt, which we'll cover here soon. And speaking of chick health, I'll share a simple but life-saving tip for new chick owners in just a bit. Choosing the right breed for your coop is vital. Now let's talk about picking the best breed for your goals. After all, not all chickens are created equal. For egg-laying chickens, they really boil down to 3 different categories: high production layers, dual-purpose birds, and colored egg layers. High production layers. These are egg-laying machines. Are you looking for an egg basket that's always full? Breeds like Leghorns, Rhode Island Reds, and Golden Comets are your go-to. These powerhouses can lay an egg up to every 25 hours. But don't just focus on an egg quantity. Coming up, I'll share with you what else to consider when choosing the best breed for your coop. 2 is dual-purpose breeds. These are the best of both worlds. Do you need birds that lay eggs but also get to a good size? Consider Plymouth Rocks, Orpingtons, or Sussex. They're friendly, reliable layers that grow to a good size if you ever need them for the table, or after they have stopped laying, it gives you another purpose and another use for the chickens. And number 3, colored egg layers. If you love a variety, check out Easter eggers, Americanas, Black Copper Morans, or Olive eggers. These are some of the chickens that will add a pop of color to your egg basket, because who doesn't love a surprise in the nest box? Here is the important thing. Think about what you want from your flock, whether it be lots of eggs, a mix of eggs and meat, or a colorful egg basket, before you bring those adorable chicks home. But what happens if you do not have the ability to get a large coop? This is where I was talking about not just focusing on how many eggs you're going to get. If you do not have the ability to have a large coop, bantam chickens are perfect for you. These lightweight, smaller birds will take well to confinement in smaller run areas. They're still chickens, they're still going to want to get outside and be in the coop, but you won't have to have 3 square foot per bird inside your building. How do you set up your brooder box? Alright, so you've got your chicks on order. Now, where do they live? They need a brooder box, which is basically their cozy, warm nursery while they grow. But before you set everything up, there's one common mistake new chicken owners make that can cause serious problems, which we'll get to here in just a second. Here are 4 things that you need to create the perfect environment for your chickens. Number 1, you will need a container to use as a brooder box. A plastic tote, cardboard box, or even a livestock trough works. Just make sure that there's enough space, chicks grow fast, and they'll need room to move around. A pro tip is making certain you have at least a half to 3/4 of a square foot per chicken. This will give them ample room to thrive and not run over each other. We also need to ensure the corners of the brooder box are rounded. If you're using a container that currently does not have rounded corners, all you have to do is attach cardboard to round the corners out. This will allow us to make it perfect for them. Number 2, a heat source. A heat lamp works, but a radiant heat plate is a safer option. Chicks start out needing 95 degrees Fahrenheit in their first week, and then they need to be stepped down 5 degrees each week thereafter until they're fully feathered. A pro tip is a chicken's back and tail are the last 2 things to come in when we're watching them feather. Number 3 is bedding. Pine shavings are a great choice. Stay away from cedar as it produces strong odors that can irritate their tiny lungs. The bedding needs to be able to give them support so they do not slide around on the base of the brooder box. Sand is also not a good choice as a curious chick may eat it and it will allow moisture to build up and go unnoticed. Number 4 is a feeder and a water. While the most important nutrient in any living animal is water, we need to make certain that we're using the plastic chick water or a metal chick water. Normally we're going to want them in a quart size. I've also seen some companies go to using the buckets with the hanging nipples on it where the chicks go up and they hit it. The biggest thing is we need to be able to have a shallow amount of water so the chicks get water but they cannot drown. We also need to provide a chick feeder, whether it be the plastic quart feeder or a metal quart feeder or the strip feeders that is kept clean and full of quality chick starter to keep them growing strong. And here's the mistake that I mentioned earlier: placing your heat source in the center of the brooder box. Always keep your heat source to one side so chicks can move to a cooler spot if they get too warm. Overheated chicks can get weak fast, and we definitely don't want that. Chicks that are overheated will crowd themselves in the corners opposite the heat source, which is the reason we need to have the rounded corners of the brooder box. If the chicks are too cold, they will huddle underneath the heat source in a pile. One thing to keep in mind with our heat pads is our chickens still need light. And so if you're using a radiant heat pad that does not give off any light, we need to have an LED light bulb that will produce the light. But what are we going to feed our chicks? So speaking of food, let's talk about what's on the menu for our little fluff balls. And stick around, because in a moment, I'll share a tiny but powerful trick to keep your chicks hydrated and healthy from day one. Chicks need a high protein feed with around 21 to 23% protein to help them grow strong and healthy. You'll keep them on this until they are at least 8 weeks old, when we can transition them to a chicken grower feed. Pro tip, even though our chicks will grow up to be layer chickens, we cannot give them layer feed until after the first eggs have been produced. For water, fresh and clean is always the way to go. And that trick I promised, add electrolytes to their water for the first few days. This will help them recover from shipping stress or even just the stress of moving into a new environment. All right, let's talk about 3 common health issues you might run into with your brand new chicks. But stay with me, because after this, I'll talk about how to prevent a common issue that can sneak up on our chicks. Number 1, pasty butt. This is usually caused by too high a protein being fed to the chicks, and you will know your chicks are affected with pasty butt when their poop sticks to their vent. If it's allowed to build up, then it can block them up. The great thing is, it's super easy to treat. Just take a warm, damp paper towel and gently clean it off. Keep an eye on them for the first week or so, and then you should be in the clear. But that's just in time to experience problem number 2. Number 2 is splay legs. If a chick's legs keep sliding apart from them and they can't stand up properly, they will produce splay legs. This can be caused by a few different things. 1, genetics. 2, too high or too low of protein. Or 3, bedding. If they're not able to get a strong, firm footing with their bedding, that, as they can grow up, can cause them to lose their footing and develop splay legs. Sometimes, if caught quickly, we can use sticks to help our layer chickens support themselves. But sadly, this is just one of those things that most chickens do not grow out of. And number 3, coccidiosis. This gut parasite will cause diarrhea and lethargy. The good news is medicated chick feeds help prevent this, or you can use Amprolium as a treatment if necessary. But what if you don't want to use medicated chick feed? Here's that tip that I promised you. Keeping the brooder box clean and dry is the best way to prevent illness. Most of the time, as long as our brooder box is kept clean and dry, we will not have problems with coccidiosis unless an infected bird is brought into our flock. Damp bedding, though, can breed bacteria fast. How to handle your chicks. Chicks are naturally curious, and the more you handle them, the friendlier they'll be. But there's a right way and a wrong way to do it. Spend a few minutes each day letting them get used to your hands. Move slowly, scoop them up gently, and avoid grabbing them from above like a predator. Then hold them securely so they cannot wiggle out of your hands and accidentally be dropped. Before long, they'll be running up to you like you're part of the flock. When to move them outside? At around 6 to 8 weeks, when they're fully feathered, they're ready to be moved outside. But don't just toss them in the coop. There's a right way to transition them. Bring them out to the chicken coop when there are no drafts and keep them away from other adult chickens. If you currently have adult chickens, once they are of equal size, then they can be introduced. The best time to introduce new chicks to your established flock is at night, or at least during the time that you can watch them. And we really don't want to be introducing single chicks to an established flock of a large amount of chickens. When you bring these new chickens into your established flock, the other chickens and the new chickens will have to peck on each other to establish the pecking order. That is just the way that chickens are. If you're interested in getting chickens, make sure you check out this video down below with the list of 10 of my most stunning chicken breeds.